Good morning and glad to have you join us on News Right live broadcast of news headlines, topical news, stories, top stories making rounds in our nation today. My name is Oluwa Mayomikun. Always a pleasure to have you join us. All right, get set, get your devices very near you. You also can take time out to share this on your timeline so that your friends can avail themselves of this news service that comes to you fresh every morning on this channel. We also upload the same thing after we finish broadcasting. We upload it on YouTube as well. So feel free, don't miss anything. Feel free to join us every morning as we bring to you fresh, authentic, robust news. Welcome. Right. Just as we said, please help us build this community by sharing this broadcast on your timeline and by also, clicking the like button and encouraging others to click it. All right, we can begin our broadcast right away. President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday presided over the meeting of Federal Executive Council at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, after which he left for Turkey for the D8 summit in Istanbul, scheduled to begin on October 20. The FEC meeting, which started at about 10 a.m., was attended by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Acting Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Dr. Habiba Lawal, and Cabinet Ministers. The monkeypox virus outbreak has spread to 11 states with 74 suspected cases recorded, Minister of Health Professor Isaac Adewale has said. Adewale made the disclosure in Abuja on Wednesday when he briefed State House correspondents on the outcome of the meeting of the Federal Executive Council. The federal government on October 11 had confirmed that 33 suspected cases of the virus were recorded in 7 states. The minister who updated the council on developments in respect of the outbreak listed the affected states as Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Cross River, Delta, Ekiti, Enugu, Imo, Lagos, Nasarawa, and Rivers, as well as the Federal Capital Territory. The minister, however, dismissed assertions that the military is spreading monkeypox virus through vaccination. He said that the military is never involved in any vaccination in the country, adding that any vaccination must involve state governments and the Federal Ministry of Health. The minister announced that his ministry is conducting vaccination in only 3 states of the Federation, namely Borno, Kwara, and Kogi. Cholera vaccination is being conducted in Borno, while that of yellow fever vaccination is being carried out in Kwara and Kogi states. He disclosed that the ministry will soon start vaccination against measles, while a nationwide vaccination against yellow fever will commence before the end of the year. In the same vein, Bauchi State government has revealed that no fewer than 1.7 million children are expected to be immunized in the state against measles during this year's campaign against the disease. Chairman of the agency, Adamu Gamawa, who made the disclosure to newsmen in Bauchi yesterday, said that 104 million naira will be expended on the exercise, which will constitute 1,428 teams to vaccinate children from 9 months to 59 months during the campaign, billed to hold from November 30 to December 5. He also notes that the last campaign against measles in the state was in 2015. Now, still on the FEC meeting, also addressing the correspondence on the outcome of the FEC meeting yesterday, the Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, revealed that the council approved 236 million naira for the completion of Sabge Irrigation Dam in Katsina State. He said the contract for the dam was initially awarded in 1997, re-awarded in 2009 after which it was abandoned, but will now be completed by the current administration. President Muhammadu Buhari has proposed the sum of 8.595 trillion naira for the 2018 budget, according to the details of the 2018 to 2020 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework, the MTEF, and the Fiscal Strategy Paper, FSP, presented to the House of Representatives and read at plenary on Tuesday. The proposed amount represents about 15% increase from this year's 7.44 trillion budget. President Buhari said the proposed budget is predicated on an oil benchmark of $45 per barrel with daily production output of 2.51 million barrels per day and an exchange rate pegged at 305 naira per dollar. The proposed 2018 budget is about 1.16 trillion naira above this year's budget and showed that capital expenditure would take 2.377 trillion naira, or let's say 30.22% against this year's 31.73%, of course, which is 2.174 trillion naira. Recurrent expenditure takes over 6 trillion naira, representing 69.78%. The aggregate revenue to fund the 2018 budget is projected at 5.65 trillion naira, which is 11%, or 562.5 billion naira over the 2017 estimate of 5.08 trillion naira. The document shows that 43.2% of the budget is projected to come from oil sources, while the balance is to be earned from non-oil sources. The proposal is, however, subject to review by either the president or the lawmakers. The federal government had assured, if you remember, that the 2018 budget proposal will be submitted to the National Assembly this month. The 36 states of the Federation spent 2.67 billion naira to service external debts in September. The amount is contained in a report obtained on Wednesday from the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. Figures from the Debt Management Office also showed that as at June 30 this year, the 36 states government and the Federal Capital Territory had a debt stock of about $3.94 billion, which is 1.2 trillion naira. According to DMO, the states and the FCT are currently servicing loans with multilateral agencies like the World Bank and Agency Française de Development, AFD. The top 10 external debt-paying states are, listen to this so that if, in case your state is there, you can note. The top 10 external debt-paying states are Lagos, Cross River, Kaduna, Oyo, Akwa Ibom, Katsina, Osun, Ogun, Edo, and Kano states. The data also shows that the 10 states that paid the least on external debt servicing for September are Taraba, Borno, Plateau, Benue, Delta, Kogi, Jigawa, Nasarawa, Gombe, and Niger states. President of the Senate, Dr. Bukola Saraki, has commenced negotiations for improved trade relations between Nigeria and Russia. Saraki says the relationship between the two countries is nowhere close to where it should be, adding that there is need for improvement to increase trade volume. The President of the Senate made the remark in a meeting with the chairperson of Council of Russian Federation, Valentina Matvienko, at St. Petersburg, Russia, on Wednesday. The meeting was on the sidelines of the 137th Inter-Parliamentary Union Assembly. Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions on Wednesday asked Stanbic IBTC Bank and Zenith Bank to unfreeze 2 accounts linked to the wife of former President Goodluck Jonathan, Patience. Members of the panel took turns to condemn the EFCC for the continued freezing of the accounts by the banks when there was a court order vacating the freezing order. The lawmakers specifically faulted the EFCC for notifying banks on court judgments freezing accounts domiciled in the financial institutions, but allegedly refusing to write the banks when the freezing order was vacated, but later served them with notice of appeal. Patience Jonathan had petitioned the Senate through her lawyer, Charles Ogboli, a senior advocate of Nigeria, protesting against the freezing of her accounts in 7 banks without court orders. Well, you may note that the committee is made up of members of the opposition party, the People's Democratic Party. House of Representatives on Wednesday urged the federal government to facilitate the procurement of arms and ammunition for operations of the Federal Road Safety Corps. It said that that bearing arms will help in protecting the Commission's personnel in the course of duty. This followed a motion by Bulus Maren from Plateau State on the need to curb incessant attacks on personnel of the FRSC. In the motion, Maren expressed concern over rampant violent attacks, harassment, and intimidation of personnel and officers of FRSC by highly placed individuals, motorists, and hoodlums across the country. The lawmaker said that from 2015 till date, there have been 149 cases of attacks on personnel and 201 cases of damage to properties and equipment of the Commission. He expressed concern that the United Nations Declaration on Reduction of Road Accidents by 50% by year 2020 may not be achieved by Nigeria if the attacks are not urgently curbed. The motion was unanimously adopted when it was put to a voice vote by the Speaker, Yakubu Dogara. The House, therefore, mandated its Committee on FRSC to investigate cases of attacks on personnel of the FRSC and report back findings within 4 weeks. House of Representatives also yesterday waded into the ongoing controversy between the Nigeria Ports Authority and Intel's Nigeria Limited. The House, while adopting a motion by Diri Doye from Bayelsa State, resolved to constitute an ad hoc panel to probe the circumstances that led to NPA's decision to terminate an existing contract between it and Intel's. The committee is to ascertain if due process was followed in the termination of the agreement and other related matters. It has 2 weeks to submit its report. The House said that NPA should reverse the termination of the contract with Intel's pending the outcome of the investigation. The motion caused serious division among the lawmakers, with a number of them opposing it, but it scaled through in the end. Doye said the agreement included the construction and operation of Apapa, Warri, Federal Ocean Terminal Port, and One in Port Harcourt, which he said Intel spent $900 million on. However, he said NPA terminated the contract in a letter to the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, on September 27, saying the action was based on an alleged illegality of the agreement. The action, the lawmaker said, has negative consequences on the Nigerians working at Intel and their dependents. In supporting the motion, Sagios Ogun from Edo State said the House must intervene in the matter as Intel's staff are already protesting at the ports. Similarly, other lawmakers such as Hassan Sule from Benue, Simon Arabo from Kaduna supported the motion. But opposing the motion, Rotimi Agmosoye from Lagos State said the House should leave the matter for the judiciary to decide, calling on Intel to go to court. Also, Ahmad Babaketa from Katsina said there appeared to be monopoly on the part of Intel as all other competitive companies folded up after the agreement was signed. But Speaker Yakubu Dogara responded by saying there is nowhere in the world that monopoly is an offense, adding that some businesses are better carried out in a monopolistic environment. Also, House of Representatives yesterday mandated one of its panels to investigate circumstances hindering payment of 1.8 billion naira compensations to poultry farmers affected by avian influenza last year. The House wondered why, after the then acting President Yemi Osinbajo directed the Federal Ministries of Finance and Agriculture to ensure payment of the outstanding balance, nothing had been done to date. Adopting a motion by Abdulrazak Namdaz from Adamawa, the House mandated the Committee on Agricultural Production and Services to ascertain why the ministries failed to pay poultry farmers despite a presidential directive. Early last year, poultry farmers in the country suffered the loss of 3.6 million birds as a result of an outbreak of bird flu. Investigations by the Agric Ministry officials showed that the cost of compensating the Investigations by the Agric Ministry officials showed that the cost of compensating the 450 affected farmers is put at 1.8 billion naira. The House endorsed the motion and asked the committee to look into the matter with a view to getting the funds released to the farmers. Also, the House of Representatives has queried loans totaling $1.5 billion taken from foreign creditors by the Transmission Company of Nigeria. This is in spite of a separate $500 million loan, which the power firm is already negotiating with the Islamic Development Bank. The House resolved on Wednesday to investigate the operations of the TCN in the past 10 years, especially the loans which is said were taken without applying due process of the law. The motion calling for the probe was moved by a member of Kaduna State, by a member from Kaduna State, Simon Arabo. Kogi State Commissioner for Agriculture, Kehinde Oloruntoba, has said that arrangements are being perfected for the federal government to establish a 10,000 hectare of cashew plantation in the state. He disclosed this recently when he led a delegation on a working visit to the palace of the Ata Igala, His Majesty Dr. Idako Michael Ame Obonitu at Ida, Kogi State. According to him, the proposed plantation, which is located in Ofu local government area of the state, is in view of the comparative advantage the state has over the years. The state has recorded over the years as the best producer of cashew nuts in Nigeria. He said that actual planting will begin before the end of the year, adding that arrangements have also been concluded towards establishing a cashew processing factory in Anyigba in the state to avoid the current practice of selling the produce at giveaway prices to buyers who use it for various products. Wife of Taraba State Governor Anna Ishaku on Wednesday launched the payment of 5,000 naira stipend to 4,350 destitutes in the state under the federal government's social investment program. Speaking at the inauguration of the program in Adokola, Ishaku commended the federal government and the World Bank for collaborating with the state to support its poorest citizens. She urged the officials disbursing the funds to fear God and ensure that due process is followed in the disbursement. The governor's wife urged the beneficiaries not to misuse the stipend, but rather to invest it wisely to improve their living conditions. Earlier, the head state cash transfer unit, Skepra Useni Baka, said the beneficiaries are to be given 10,000 naira each as payment for 2 months. Subsequent payment will be 5,000 naira until the expiration of the first phase of the program in December 2019. He said the number of beneficiaries could rise from the 4,350 to 10,000 at the end of the ongoing data capture of the poorest people in the state. The 6 benefiting local government areas include Gasol, Adokola, Karim Lamido, Sadauna, Takum, and Usa local government areas. Useni Baka said the councils were selected as the state's poorest areas through the poverty world map, while individual beneficiaries were identified by their communities in collaboration with relevant government agencies. Herdsmen and farmers in Mashegu local government area of Niger State have signed a peace agreement to stop clashes among them. Alhaji Abdullahi Babayo, the Director General of Nomadic Affairs Agency in the state, disclosed this in Mina yesterday. Babayo said the aim of the meeting is to reconcile communities affected by farmers' herdsmen crisis in the area. According to him, the meeting is to promote peace among farmers and herdsmen and to appeal to herdsmen to desist from grazing on farmlands to avoid clashes with farmers. The DG advised both parties to abide by the agreement and continue to respect the cultures of one another, tradition and means of livelihood, urging them to be law-abiding and live in peace irrespective of ethnic, religious, and political affiliations. Babayo also advised both farmers and herdsmen against blocking cattle routes and destroying farmlands so as to sustain the peace in the area and guarantee food security. The meeting was attended by Alhaji Bala Seidu, the chairman, Mashegu Local Government Area, Alhaji Ado Adamu, the chairman, Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association in Niger State, Fulani herdsmen, farmers, district heads, and community leaders from the area. National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control said it has arrested Obuneme Okpala a man suspected to be behind a syndicate specializing in the importation, distribution, warehousing, and sale of counterfeit insecticides. According to the agency, the market value of goods recovered from Opala is 50 million naira, adding that the product was imported from China. Acting DG of NAFDAC, Ademola Magbojuri, said that the suspect in 2015 had imported a 40-feet container of Kilit insecticide through the One ports in Rivers State. Magbojuri disclosed that the agency has been on the trail of the suspect for 2 years, adding that following a tip-off, the team of NAFDAC investigation and enforcement officers were directed to carry out proper investigation into the intelligence report. He declared that Opala will be prosecuted accordingly. He listed items recovered from him as 1,539 cartons of Royal Dream insecticide and 52 cartons of Kilit insecticide. Meanwhile, NAFDAC said it will continue to safeguard public health in the country. The Southwest coordinator of the agency, Ayedone Adenuga, made the pledge when he received operational vehicles donated to the agency by the Osun chapter of the Association of Industrial Pharmacists of Nigeria on Tuesday in Osogbo. Adenuga said that the agency will continue to ensure that only safe and quality food, drugs, and other regulated products are certified and made available for public consumption. She added that only genuine manufacturers of regulated products will be allowed to operate in the Southwest region and the country at large. In his remarks, the acting chairman of the association, Samuel Olawoye, said that the bus was donated to the agency as part of the association's corporate responsibility, and the association will continue to partner NAFDAC in its critical role and operations in safeguarding the health of the citizenry. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on Wednesday said 2,158,171 registered voters will take part in the November 18 governorship election in Anambra State. Bimbo Oladojoy, Assistant Director, ICT Department of INEC, Abuja, made the disclosure during the official publication of Register of Voters for the November 18 governorship election in Oka. She said out of the figure, 50.3% are females, while 49.6% are males. Oladojoy further disclosed that students are the highest number of registered voters, constituting 48%, adding that Idemili North local government area has the highest number of registered voters. Also speaking, Professor Ukechukwu Ibeano, the INEC National Commissioner for Southeast Zone, said the publication is in compliance with this electoral law, which mandates the Commission to publish the register 30 days before the election. The INEC official notes that Anambra is the first to have 37 candidates contesting for a governorship position in an election since the history of elections in Nigeria. In his address, the resident electoral commissioner in the state, Dr. Nwachukwu Oji, reiterates the commission's readiness to conduct free, fair, credible, and acceptable election on November 18 in the state. We can tell you that a soft copy of the voters' register was given to each of the political parties whose candidates will contest for the election. Anambra State government on Wednesday said it sacked 2 school principals over collection of unapproved fees. Professor Kate Omenuha, the Commissioner for Education, made this known in Oka. According to the Commissioner, the action is to rid the education system in the state of corruption. The Commissioner, who declined mentioning the names of the sacked principals and their respective schools, said the move is also to demonstrate government's position in the fight against corruption and impunity by public servants. She said that the sacked teachers collected illegal fees from students against government position, noting that the present administration has zero tolerance for corruption. The commissioner said that under her watch, all bad eggs will be weeded off the education system. Omenua said that another teacher is facing disciplinary action for aiding examination malpractice and assured that the ministry will ensure that sanity returns to schools. A federal high court in Abuja has approved an application by the EFCC for interim forfeiture of 14 properties by former FCT Minister Bala Mohammed over alleged corruption. Justice Nnamdi Dingba yesterday ordered that the properties, which were allegedly purchased and concealed under names of different companies and individuals be forfeited to the federal government within 21 days. The judge ordered the publication of the order in newspapers. The order followed an ex parte application by EFCC counsel Ben Ikane, who pleaded the court to direct all persons or bodies who may have interest to show cause while the said properties should not be forfeited to the federal government. Bala Mohammed, who is also facing a 6-count charge bordering on abuse of office, false declaration of assets, and fraud to the tune of 864 million naira before an FCT High Court, was absent at the hearing on Tuesday. The lawyer who stood in for Chris Uche, the lead defense counsel, Mbani Tula, told the court that the lead counsel is bereaved as he lost his younger brother. He said that the ex-minister was absent in court also due to stomach problem. Justice Talba Abubakar thereafter adjourned the matter to December 4. Justice Babatunde Quadri of Federal High Court in Abuja yesterday also adjourned the trial of former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, until November 15. Lamido is being prosecuted alongside his 2 sons, Aminu and Mustafa, and 2 others by the EFCC on a 27-count charge bordering on abuse of office and money laundering. At the resumed hearing, counsel to the defendants, Kanu Agabi, a senior advocate of Nigeria, informed the court of his appearance in the matter for the first time. The senior advocate took over from Joe Agi, who was the defendant's counsel. The prosecuting counsel, Chile Okoroma, said he will not oppose the defendant's rights to adequate defense representation in the interest of justice. Consequently, Justice Quadri adjourned the matter until November 15 and 16 for continuation of trial. It will be recalled that Justice Babatunde Quadri had on July 7 dismissed an application by the former governor requesting that the trial be returned to the former trial judge, Justice Adeniyi Ademola. Justice Ibrahim Auta, the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, assigned the case to Justice Quadri when Justice Ademola went on suspension following corruption charge against him and his wife. But following judgment exonerating Ademola and his wife, Agi requested that the Chief Judge return the case to him. Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad officers, Federal SARS officers, who allegedly harassed a young lady, Amadi Oyekachi, in Ilorin, will undergo trial today, Thursday. Police PRO in the state, Ajayi Okasomi, confirmed this on Wednesday in Ilorin. Oyekachi had on social media, if you remember, narrated her ordeal in the hands of the officers, which caught the attention of the public. She alleged that the federal SARS officers harassed and forcefully pushed her into a police truck. She said they stopped her at Pipeline area and asked why she had Yahoo applications on her phone. Oyekachi said she was shocked when another operative, under the pretense of searching her, forced his hand into her underwear. The police spokesman said the lady alleged that she was molested, and the police officers on duty on the said day have been invited for investigation. He said the officers were arrested when the Commissioner of Police in the state got wind of the incident. Okasome revealed that once investigations were concluded yesterday, the police will organize an oddly room trial to unravel the truth behind the allegation. The newly established 8th Division of Nigerian Army Sokoto has taken off with the assumption of duty of its pioneer General Officer Commanding Brigadier General Olabanji Samuel. General Samuel disclosed this when he paid a courtesy visit to Governor Aminu Tambuwal at the government house in Sokoto yesterday. He said necessary arrangements have been made to ensure the smooth takeoff of the new division, as the bulk of the men and officers of the division have now been mobilized. Governor Tambuwal assured the army authorities of his government's total support to enable the new division achieve its set objectives. Former President Goodluck Jonathan yesterday held a closed-door meeting with former military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida at his uphill residence in Minna, Niger State. Jonathan reportedly drove to Minna in a GMC bulletproof SUV with 8 vehicles in his convoy and arrived at Babangida's residence at about 10 a.m. The meeting between the two leaders, which started few minutes after 10, did not end until about 12:14 p.m. Jonathan declined to give details of his visit to IBB, saying it is private and personal. Anyway, when pressed further, Jonathan said he was in Mina to commiserate with the former military leader on a safe return from a medical trip abroad. Asked to comment on the prevailing political and economic situation in the country, the former president said he is a retired politician. That's a very diplomatic answer. People's Democratic Party has said that it will not force former President Olusegun Obasanjo to return as its member. It said it will respect the decision of the former president, but added that whether he returns or not, the party will not die. Obasanjo had on Tuesday vowed never to return to the PDP, saying he would rather remain a statesman working for the interest of the nation. He spoke with journalists after he held a meeting with the national caretaker chairman of the party, Senator Ahmed McAfee, behind closed doors at the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. That's the much we can take today, but we believe that we've gone round town and we've brought you the robust package of news making headlines today. My name is Oluwa Mayomikun. Let's do this again tomorrow, Friday. Enjoy the rest of your day and tell someone about News Bite. Bye for now.